Michael Hage knows all about the issue. He was previously with the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, is now the CEO of American Innovation for International Development based here in Washington. Michael, welcome to the program. Clearly, global food insecurity, one of the big issues here at the UN this year. What do you want to see in terms of action and commitments? And before you answer that question, I want to put up a tweet by the United States UN ambassador and what she had to say. She said, according to the WFP, up to 50 million people in 45 countries are on the edge of famine and risk being flipped over without humanitarian support. We must act. For our part, since February, the U.S. has provided over $5.7 billion in assistance to food security operations. Is this enough?
Good to be with you, Asieh. I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't think this is in itself enough, because we have to be able to, the world has to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We have a food security crisis right now. We have people in need of food assistance, food aid right now, but we also need to make sure we're making the right investments in order not to have the food shortages of today, the impetus for the food crisis of 2023, of next year.
And clearly this situation was already bad, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. How much has the war in Ukraine made things even worse?
Well, in 2021, we had over 350 million people facing food insecurity than in 2020. And that was due to the supply chain problems created by COVID. And then the energy crisis and the war in Ukraine that is impacting the market flows of food grains and fertilizers. And that has created an additional problem of raising food prices and input costs, which is exacerbating the problem.
And talk a little bit more, Michael, if you will, about this fertilizer shortage and why. I mean, when we think about food insecurity, most people may not necessarily think about the fertilizer problem as the first big issue.
Well, I mean, among the largest producers in the world, like Brazil and the European Union countries, are net importers of fertilizers from Russia. So there is no way we can find other sources sufficient to satisfy these markets in order to produce enough food to feed the world and prevent market shocks in the coming season. So what is needed is a diplomatic solution to the problem in order to get the fertilizers from Russia distributed in a timely manner.
Of course, another problem in the mix is climate change. We've seen extreme conditions around the world this year in nearly every corner of the world: extreme heat, drought, flooding. Talk a little bit more about how that comes into play.
Well, I mean, not 2 weeks ago, we witnessed floods in Pakistan, for instance, that impacted 1/3 of the population. We had drought in North Africa, we had drought in Latin America, we had drought in Europe that has reduced food production by 20 to 30% in some cases. So climate change is real and the impact is tangible. And if we don't act fast in terms of making sure the average temperature on the planet doesn't go up more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, then we're going to see more of these extreme weather conditions that is going to put many population centers around the world in dire consequences.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Important discussion there. Michael Hage, thank you very much.
Good to be with you, Asieh. Thank you.